back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast in which we smash apart the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1-minute chunks so we can analyze them in scrupulous detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Road to Infinity podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco. And Kyle, you ever have the experience of speaking to an animal, not a pet, just an animal that you've encountered, zoos, whatever, and you try to talk to it? You just treat it as a human?
Oh, of course.
You just have a conversation, right? Like, I mean, like, hey there, bear. You know, what are you looking at? You know, you go to the zoo, you know, like maybe look at the giraffe. How's it going, Mr. Giraffe?
Who's a pretty bird? Who's a pretty bird?
If I think back of one of the weirdest movies, one of my favorite scenes in a movie that you would not expect me to pick up on this is 50 First Dates.
Oh, okay.
Adam Sandler talking with the walruses.
Oh, yeah.
Which always, because he totally treats them like they're humans, right?
Yeah.
And of course, the joke is that, I mean, they might understand tone. Maybe they understand.
But they're not Adam Sandler fans. I mean,
I know you got a little romantic thing going on with Candace. Candace and Bernice?
I mean, they're, well, and
that's true.
Right?
It's a phase we've all gone through.
But it made me just think, because there's a moment in this minute that totally made me think about, hey, you don't understand anything I'm saying, do you? Well, I'm going to still keep talking.
Yeah, trying to use words to talk your way out of an awkward situation.
Exactly.
We're going to find that here in minute 87 of The Incredible Hulk from 2008, directed by one Louis Leterrier. And we pick up where we left off, which is Revenge of Dr. Stern's House of Horrors. We're back in the mad lab. But things have changed.
Oh, yeah.
So last time we were here, we had Bruce on the table, and he had like the dialysis machine set up. He had all this blood going from various places and the purple liquid and all that stuff. Now things have changed. We have a huge bank of lights, which have come out of nowhere. I don't remember those ever being around before. And
it's from like your worst experience ever at the dentist.
Yeah, right.
It's like that times 10.
Yeah. And then we also have a new device comes out, which should look very familiar to those of you who watched the opening sequence, because basically he's recreating Bruce's original experiment. Now, I don't know what that thing is, like the gamma irradiator with the crosshairs and stuff that shoots the green beam, but it's my understanding that until half an hour ago, Stearns had no idea that he was talking to Bruce Banner. So I don't know how he would have the exact rig that Bruce Banner had that originally did the experiment.
Oh, there's only one way to get these gamma rays into a subject.
Oh, I guess so. Everybody has the Gamma Blaster 2000.
This gamma MRI machine, absolutely.
Right.
That projects a green bullseye right on your forehead.
For those who study gamma radiation, apparently everybody has one of these.
Well,
one of the things that it comes with the weird scientist starter pack.
We don't know. We don't know. Maybe he spent 30 minutes doing this and he cobbled it together. He's a scientist. He's got a lot of stuff.
But you can see they're clearly doing Bruce Banner's original experiment again.
Right.
Like that is what they're trying to emulate, because right down to the green crosshairs that go across Emil's forehead, and we cut to his point of view, and we see the green beams going across it, just like we saw in the opening sequence. But there's Tim Roth's real chest and shoulders. We haven't seen those in a while.
Oh yeah.
They did not actually bother to CG the weird striations all across his chest like they had been doing, like we saw in the mirror scene.
Right.
About 8-9 minutes ago. So there's actually that is his real, ungamma irradiated shoulders and chest.
Right.
Which will be the last time that we're going to see them, because I think this is the this is the last time we're going to see Tim Roth.
Oh yeah.
This is where Tim Roth actually exits the movie.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Oh yeah.
As looking like he does. He still did performance capture and stuff
right.
too, but this is his last scene in the movie. Obviously, big gamma blast. Stuff starts cooking, and it happens really, really fast. Like the transformation happens really quick, within seconds, within 5 or 6 seconds.
Did you? Oh no, you're being generous. It's like 2. Like, okay, it goes from, and I know we've joked about stuff like this similarly in previous minutes.
Yeah.
It literally goes from this tense, but it is a paced moment. That's the word I would use for this.
Okay.
Where we have the slow pan, we see Tim Roth on the thing, we see the bullseye coming over his head, switches to his view, like you said. And then it literally goes from that to static screens. He's bashing on the keyboards and buttons and like, oh yeah, it's over. I can't do anything. This is what I told you was going to happen.
He has a bunch of switches, and then he has a big red button in the middle of the thing. I was like, oh man, somebody in production design was having some fun that day. Put a big red stop button right in the middle of the control panel.
Did you get the impression that, okay, at some points an editor just said, that's enough. It's time to cut to the monster. That's it.
Yeah,
it's like what you say.
Yeah.
That's it. We're done.
Get to the monkey.
Yes.
Yeah. It really is. It's just like, all right, fine, he's there. And so, like, yeah, a big foot comes down, and out of his military boot, then we see the giant foot rip out of it, like we've seen before. But then something we haven't seen before happens. An extra joint is formed, and we see like his legs sort of cock backwards, and then a big bone spur comes out of there, adding in an extra joint. Why? The camera then is panning up as we're sort of keeping an eye on Stearns, and this big green thing is continuing trying to block him. But Tim Blake Nelson is a professional, so he always finds the camera.
Right.
So no matter where he's going, he manages to stay on camera. So that's how a pro does it. Then we see the spine. Now we saw the spine first in the bathroom scene right before Blonsky got on the helicopter, and we pop, 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 pop. And now he's got ridges pricking out of his back because okay, sure, why not? And then looking down, and so like you were talking about, through this whole thing, Stearns is like trying to carry on one side of a conversation with it too. I actually wrote down all the stuff he said. This is what I was trying to explain. I don't know what you've been ladling into yourself, which let's just pause for a moment and go. Ladling into yourself is such a great phrase. It's such a weird choice. I love it.
It continues that character's just word choice. Like, and you get the whole idea of like, you think, like, I'm thinking we're back at Stan Lee's, right? We've got like the ladle of sauce, and he's just like, just putting it in open wide. What an odd way to say that.
Yeah. So then he continues. Clearly it worked. Let's assume you can't understand a word I'm saying.
I love it.
If you just get back on the table, I can fix this. Which I love the fact that he's looking at the Abomination. Now, obviously, we're not going to see the Abomination for another like 3 minutes.
Right.
But he is seeing him, and he's like, I can fix that. Like, look at this big green thing with extra joints and bone spurs and all this stuff, and being like, no, I just need a little tweak. We can buff that out, no problem. His assessment of his own abilities is more than his actual abilities would back up.
It also does. I mean, if there was a positive thing of the character, it's that character that doesn't see an ugly monster, right? He sees science.
Yeah.
Like he sees answers. He sees more questions.
True.
I think that's actually, I mean,
he's probably proud. Like, hey, I made a Hulk.
It's completely within this character as we have been led to understand him. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So then I see if you agree with me on this. I believe Blonsky's gone.
Right. Oh yeah, he's gone now.
This is Abomination from here on out. So I don't want to use his dead name.
Right.
So he is Abomination from here on out. So Abomination says, lie down, and then backhands him.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Did you hear that? I think that's what he said. So like that's what I got out of it. It could have just been a growl, but it sounded like to me. And then backhands him, and Abomination hits Stearns, and Stearns flies over to the side and slams into the side of the machine. And then we see the top of the machine that the vial of Bruce's blood has been cracked, and some blood is flowing downwards. And as we hear Abomination and doing his evil supervillain laugh.
Oh yeah, it resonates.
It's pretty good,
it's
right?
Crazy, yeah.
And then we hear some soldiers shouting, "Shoot it!" as Abomination is tearing things up. The blood drips down onto Stearns' head, right into an open wound on his forehead. And as his head begins to swell, he looks into camera and smiles.
And it's freakish.
It's really creepy. Yeah.
It's a creepy... Okay, two things about it is Tim Blake Nelson can uniquely give... He can contort his face in very creepy ways.
Yeah.
It is a creepy smile, only added to the three things about it is creepy smile.
Yep.
His head is pulsating.
Yeah.
We've seen now his head is actually changing, and it's a very discomforting angle that his head is in.
Yeah.
So his head is not, he's not looking at the camera straight up and down. No, it's angled downwards at a 45-degree angle. It's such a disturbing moment that it's nightmare-inducing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's supposed to be because, so for those of you who aren't huge comic book fans, this is where Samuel Stearns transforms into the Leader. Now, we talked about him earlier, so I won't get deep into that, but this is, they were setting up stuff for a sequel that, of course, has not so far happened. At the time of this recording, they've not announced an Incredible Hulk 2. Who knows? Maybe in the future, things have changed. Hello, future people. I hope things are better there.
Exactly.
So the Leader, his big defining feature is that his head is gigantic. So he basically has a head like a eraser on the back of a pencil. It's a long, skinny head, and so but he's always is very refined stuff too. So he always has like very well groomed facial hair.
Okay.
Like usually have like a nice supervillain mustache, a very Sinestro kind of mustache. He's as smart as the Hulk is strong. That's his gimmick. So they were setting this up as he would be a future villain for the Hulk to fight, but of course, so far that has not happened.
Right.
So that was where they were going with this. However, this is a picture wrap on Tim Blake Nelson. Woo!
Yeah.
We're saying goodbye to two of our Tims in this particular scene because this is the last we'll see of either of them through the rest of the movie. So thank you both for your contributions to this movie.
Absolutely.
We enjoyed both of them, even though Tim Roth is still going to be around. This is the last time we're going to see him. So thank you for both. Meanwhile, Abomination is on the attack. So he picks up the medical bed. I couldn't tell if this was the medical bed he was on. I guess it is. But he picks up a medical
big.
bed.
It's huge. It has to be. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So he picks up a medical bed and throws it through the wall. And so we see it arc over to the side, and then it slams into a transformer. Not that kind of transformer.
We've transitioned to an exterior shot.
Yes.
Where there's people on the ground looking up at the building, right?
Yeah. And so like the stuff comes flying out, and then hits transformer and it sparks, and then a soldier also comes flying out. Maybe the guy that said, "Shoot it."
Right.
But I'll just shoot you then. So he picks him up and throws him out there. We see, and then everything crashes down to the ground, and we see some of the soldiers who are stationed outside looking up, like, "What the heck is going on?" And that's where a minute comes to an end.
So interesting, and I know
it's a big minute, isn't it? Minute 87.
Oh no, this is huge. Well, especially good because again, no, and it's a great point. This is the last scenes of two of these characters. One is obviously one of the main characters. This is to me an interesting theme that continues in this movie about the deaths of characters, right?
Yeah.
So obviously the Abomination is holding back when he sort of slaps Tim Blake Nelson, right? Into the console.
And he's sort of in mid-transformation. So...
Well, he's mid-transformation, but there's some restraint because he clearly kills those soldiers that he throws out of the building.
Oh, absolutely. I think
those guys are dead.
Yeah. Those are Abomination's first kills.
Yes, I mean. And in a movie that, again, we've talked about, people clearly have died as collateral damage in some of the things of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys are dead.
Oh, they're dead. There's no G.I. Joe helicopter parachute thing.
No.
No.
And did you get I kind of saw this as a little bit of it's not trying to bookend it or anything, but you very much feel like those first scenes of the Hulk in the bottling plant.
Yeah.
Where he's taking people and flinging them
yeah. And stuff, and like he threw the forklift and the bottling machine, whatever. Like the Blonsky's first thing he throws is the medical bed that he was on. So yeah, it's and similar that we don't see him.
Exactly right.
Like we didn't see in the Hulk's first transformation in this movie. Well, I mean, beyond the opening credits, that we don't actually see. If only we just see pieces.
Now, do you think that is that an interesting decision in that? I think it's amusing that they did not take this opportunity to show Tim Roth's face.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a similar situation like we talked about with that they had developed Abomination before they cast Tim Roth, that they had the Abomination look, and so they didn't want to have the two, when you have Edward Norton, and that we did see that they did some facial mapping and did transformation, because in this room they had already done a transformation, like you could see his face go from one to the other. But I know faces are hard in CG.
Well, faces are hard, but it's too bad, because one of the things I think that would have made this scene better is we've talked about in the past about first of all Tim Roth's great acting, but especially his facial expressions.
Yeah.
And we talk about when he got the first injection, and remember you could see the fear in his eyes.
Yeah.
I think it would have been really interesting to have that same shot of this transformation, see it actually go from fear to anger to the monster. so that you actually see that his transformation, his road to the dark side is complete, and that he now owns the monster that he is about to become.
Yeah.
I think it would have added more.
I
to the
would
scene,
agree.
But, yeah,
But I guess they've now shifted back into monster movie.
oh yeah.
So they're holding off the reveal until a significant portion, but it's coming pretty soon, so you don't have to wait too long. But that is where our minute comes to an end. We'll find out then what's the third thing that comes out of that window in minute 88. In the meantime,
You know, Kyle. Let's just take a moment as we close this out and think about the star power of this scene. Right?
that's true. We have two major stars in this movie who are making their exit right here.
Exactly right. Wouldn't it be a great tribute to them to take those stars and add them to a rating for this podcast?
Oh, okay. But two is not enough. I mean,
Oh no! Think about all the great. I mean, are you Ed Norton?
yeah, that's 3.
William
That's
Hurt.
4. And then, of course, Liv Tyler. That's 5. That's 5 stars.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 5 stars.
So if you were to take those 5 stars and go over to iTunes, you could give a star for each of those amazing performances, and then put something in there about if you're enjoying the show, or what. Or you could list those 5 names, or maybe continue on with the campaign that is sweeping the nation, which is 5 stars for Spar.
Oh.
Justice for Spar.
I'm gonna have a drum. I'm gonna put in some drum music there, a drum beat. That's awesome.
So, we hope you're enjoying the show. You can follow us on all the social media stuff. We hope you had a great time. Until next time, true believers.
Bye.